What's up, humans? Welcome to another episode of Shots from the Winchester podcast, brought to you by Greencastle Consulting, your nation's premier strategy execution firm. I'm your host, Al Green. Today, we're going to have a really cool conversation with Ryan Murray, director here at Greencastle Consulting. And we're also going to be talking to Eric Gardner, who is a consultant here at Greencastle Consulting. And we're going to be talking about the ERP standing for Enterprise Resource Planning. And we're going to be talking about change management. And we got two really good guys here that are going to explain this to us today. So we're going to have some good fun here. Let's just get in and learn a little bit about who you guys are first. Let's talk about you, Ryan.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm a director at Greencastle Consulting, as you mentioned, for sure. So I'm managing an engagement with one of the larger water utilities that Greencastle works for right now. Got about 15, 16 or so project managers, change managers, budget controllers, data analysts, so on and so forth, working for us. Tons of good time and just delivering tons of value to the client.
Sweet. And Eric?
Right. So I'm Eric Gardner. I was the project manager for one of our clients when we did a big S4HANA transfer. So we got that up and running for one of their sections, and currently I'm working on a variety of different municipality portal projects and some other IT projects.
Nice. How long have you been with Greencastle?
About a year and a half now.
Year and a half. And Ryan?
I'll be 5 years in August. And one quick saved round, as we like to say in the military. So I'm a Marine and he's a soldier. So no worries if we talk a little trash to each other.
That's good stuff. All right, let's just jump right in.
Absolutely.
So if you don't know what ERP stands for, it is Enterprise Resource Planning. But we're going to get you guys to just give us an idea of how that works in with change management. But let's start with change management. What is change management for all those people out there that don't know what that means?
So it's really managing change, right?
Yeah.
It's the best way to describe it. From a high level, a lot of people think of it as like, hey, we think we need it because we're changing some sort of process, or we've got a software implementation, or, there's some large change happening at the organization.
Right.
So how can we manage that, right? And I would say the ultimate point from my kind of perspective is making sure that you're generating adoption of whatever that change is, right? So that end user group of that change, whether it's a new process, a software, you name it, is that they are not just now executing the new process or using the new software platform, but they're excited about it, right? And they're happier with it. And they realize the benefits that it's providing them. So it's the holistic approach that you take to make sure that that end user, right, of that change is, again, not just executing it, but they're excited about it and they realize the new kind of value and opportunity they have in using or executing a new system or process.
Right. And change management is something there's pushback a lot of times with companies who are making changes that aren't necessarily something they've been doing for a long time, like legacy-wise. How do you mitigate that? How do you get people over that hump?
Absolutely. So really again, I know we'll talk about like lessons learned and stuff, but it's starting as early on in the project or program that you possibly can. There's a couple different facets on there. There's, making sure that you've got quality sponsorship from top level leadership, working all the way down. The term that we use, right, you mentioned pushback, but we call resistance, right?
Resistance.
So like user resistance or that kind of resistance to change. We've always done it this way.
Yeah.
Utility, pretty ubiquitous term, right? We've always done this process. We've always used this software platform and it's always worked and it's never been an issue.
Right.
Why are we changing it, right? So the earlier on you can do that and kind of generate the awareness of, hey, here's why the change is coming. Here's all the great benefits you're going to get, And I think with ours specifically, you had data management that was really rough, with the old platform. We were going to, the S4HANA platform, which was a huge benefit, I think. You also have like automation. So process automation where people are doing like a lot of manual entry. You're taking away, human errors, so on and so forth. You've also now have better reporting and analytics, which is, I would say, another big one as well. Whereas we don't know what you don't know, right? And so you've got even more opportunities for process improvements even further down the line, right? And I would say the number one thing, just going back a little bit for the ERPs, is that they integrate with kind of like the business processes that you have. So whether that's a focus on HR, finance, operations, you name it, it's scalable in nature. So you're able to take a software platform and then capitalize on processes maybe you already have, improve them, and then have the software kind of like, or leverage that software for all of those kind of benefits I just kind of mentioned there, right? Whether it's automation, data analytics, right? Reporting functionalities, so on and so forth.
You just mentioned ERP, and we've been talking about ERP. So for the audience that doesn't quite understand what that is, what is ERP?
So that's what it is. It's the software platform, right, that you can apply throughout the business, right? And it's going to automate a lot of those various business processes that you already have. You'll see it's like, again, I mentioned the word ubiquitous, but ERP tends to be like kind of one of the new, kind of buzzwords going out there in terms of software implementation, at least like large scale software implementation. So you're going to see it more and more, and it typically affects a large user group, right? We kind of talked about change management before.
Right.
It's kind of all about that end user, so that individual, right, all the way down to that level that's going to be using that new software platform, generating what we call like adoption, right? So that adoption means like I mentioned before, like, hey, I'm no longer resistant to this new software platform because I'm comfortable with the old one, but now I realize all of the enhanced benefits that I'm going to get with the new one. Now I'm excited to use this, go forward, save time, money, etc.
We were working with a large utility company, and they were moving their platform for their finance and accounting for one of their divisions.
Right.
They were moving it from a Microsoft-based product into SAP.
Just in case the audience doesn't quite know what SAP means, what does SAP mean?
SAP is Systems, Applications, and Products.
Systems, Applications, and Products. Okay. And is there a room here to ask kind of what that means?
So, think of it as it's really a large ERP software platform.
Oh, got you. Okay.
It's a large platform with multiple suites. They have accounting, they have finance, they have sales.
Pretty much any type of business function you could think of. SAP has a software platform for it.
It's SAP, pronounced SAP, not SAP.
Not SAP.
People refer to it as SAP.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Yeah, and they get absolutely
ridiculed.
crushed.
Yes.
It's an acronym. So SAP.
So basically, the company for a while was using this Microsoft product, and this is how we do accounts payable, accounts receivable. This is how we do the financial forecasting, budgeting, and a lot of the products in that suite. And so they were changing from that platform, Microsoft, into SAP. And once they started there, the training was how do these end users that have been processing their accounts payable, invoices for the past couple of years, not use that, now use this. So the change management process is you bring in the team and you make the overhead announcements. Hey, we're looking to go to the different platform. We're looking at using this. And then some of the audience is familiar with SAP. Some of them are experienced users. Some of them are new users. And some of them don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where change management would come in to get that word out. We are changing, and then as the project moves on, because it wasn't an overnight thing, it was a good about a year project. So as the year goes on, as a project goes on, as the product develops and comes into that final stage, you're working with a change management and those end users to let them know this is coming, and then also give them training. So you've got to set up your training options. You've got to let everybody know this is when we're going to be doing the training, and if people can't attend those specific trainings for whatever reason, you've got to have some sort of an alternative. And in our case, we used a lot of videos, so we would record a video and then send it out.
That's cool. So that's very helpful for anybody, especially like people learn from different ways, and is video, you finding video being the best way for people to like retain that information?
That's a good question. Well, you were a little bit more closer to the ground than I was on that one.
Yeah, so as far as retaining, I know some of the training courses would require them to take a quiz, a very basic high-level quiz. And I didn't get a lot of feedback from that, positive or negative. But it seems like every time somebody's, hey, I can't make that call, can you record it? And then they do go back because they'll call and say, hey, I went through and I watched it, here are my questions. So the videos do work, they do get reviewed. However, they don't get reviewed by everybody because at some point when you finish the project and you think, okay, we've done it successfully, somebody in that corner cubicle calls up and is like, hey, what's going on here? I have no idea how to look at my desktop anymore. It's all different. So there's always going to be somebody you miss, but that's sort of where you're looking at change management to come in to get that word out at the high level, and then as the project goes on to know when to start refining and then targeting specific areas. We need to make sure accounts payable knows how to process their invoices. We need to make sure accounting knows how to close the books at the end of the month. And with that, when the project goes along, you need to know, hey, if we're closing the books, in August, and that's the last time we use this Microsoft product, and then in September is the first time we're going to use this SAP product, that's when you really want to be dialed in and refined.
That's great. And Greencastle How do we do it more uniquely than other companies, would you say?
Yeah, the difference between Greencastle and I would say a lot of others, we're going to customize our approach, right? So we'll take a couple different methodologies that are out there. I know there's some like from Acuity, there's ProSci, which leverages the AdCar methodology, and we're going to see what fits best for that customer or that client. You might need to emphasize some elements in the beginning, right, where you're leveraging maybe like a change impact analysis to really identify your change advocate network group, right? That's another group that you identify various influencers within the organization, right? Maybe that's a key to winning, right? There's a lot of different tools at your disposal within change management, but I'd say the ultimate point that is going to separate Greencastle is that level of customization that we're going to apply to our customers.
Let's get some lessons learned from this. Now that we know a little bit more about change management and we know a little bit more about ERP and how they work together, what are some things that have been noticeable in your approach here with using these methods in the field?
So I'll punt that one over to you. For sure. I think you're a little closer, like I mentioned.
Yeah, so I would say starting with the very beginning, when you get this project that you want to put out and distribute, it's going to be good for the company. Long run, it's going to be good for the company. So trying to make sure you know what you want your message to be. What story do you want to tell everybody? And in our case, most everybody was on board with it. In fact, they were all, when it finally came to the end and they were doing that last book closing, they said, hey, this is the last time we have to use this system.
Yeah. And
they cheered, they were excited, and we moved forward and things went well. But to get to that point, you need to know what it is you want your story to be to get it out there. So when you hire that vendor, when you sign that contract, make sure you've done the due diligence, make sure you look at it ahead of time and you ask as many questions as you can think of and try to think of questions that wouldn't normally come up so you can get all of that in that contract and you know what you're going to be getting over time. Because once the project starts rolling, it's difficult to change that portion of it, I found. And then as you do get closer towards the end and you're looking at, okay, we need to start training these end users, make sure that your whoever you hire for the training vendor is working well with whoever the change management vendor is, because they'll have to work close together. I remember towards the end, I started bringing both of those teams into one weekly meeting to say, this is where we're at now. What do you need from us going forward? What do we need to change? What do we need to refocus on?
I'm going to throw this question in here. For anyone that's out there who may be looking at Greencastle for services or just some level of understanding, what can a client expect from our services here with the ERP, with change management?
Successful adoption.
Yeah,
there you go. Right there, right? Happy end users, I would say.
Yeah,
for sure. And just wanted to emphasize or elaborate a little bit more on what Eric said. So it was kind of interesting about the situation that we were with this S4 HANA implementation is we had, Greencastle was running the project management services. So, Eric was doing his thing, making sure everything was good, but they had a separate vendor for change management and then another vendor for the training and education. And so that's where, if a recommendation kind of going forward would be like either use one, right? Or if, depending on how technical the platform is, you can have like, either the vendor or that actual software platform can probably provide training as well and use a single vendor for both the change management and project management, right? Yeah. It's going to reduce that coordination. And again, Greencastle does both, right? Yeah. So where it's going to make everything much more cohesive in nature, where again, you were a little bit closer than I was, but it seemed a little bit almost not separating, but you had like almost like vendors kind of competing for the same work. And I think it caused several like kind of gaps within the holistic project going forward. So I just wanted to capitalize on that as well. But any thoughts on that from your perspective as well?
Yeah, and that was going back. So if you're going to have to hire a trainer halfway through the project, it's probably best to think about that beforehand and say, okay, here's the change manager and here's the training vendors. We need you two to get along and start that from the beginning. It would probably be better than halfway through have that bid going out and then coming back and they both know they're bidding against each other. So you can sort of avoid that.
Yeah, generally speaking in change management, I will tell you like the number one issue that I have seen throughout all of the organizations that I have worked for is they start way too late. You get halfway through a project and it's like, change management, whatever. And then they're like, oh, wait, like, no, we do need it. Like, we're getting like quite a bit of resistance here. And like, we're actually nervous about people not adopting this new software platform, or not adopting this new process. If you can bring in, whether it's a Greencastle, whatever change management group as early as possible, right?
Yeah.
And just recognize that you might have a change management gap from the beginning. We can leverage a lot of different tools to make sure that it's a smooth process throughout. And by the time you get to the end, to Eric's point, everyone's cheering and we're excited and we got this new platform and work's going to be, way easier. We're going to eliminate all of the friction from, historical or older platforms that, might not work to the level that we would like or speed that we have today.
That's a good point to make. Getting that change management in as early as possible, because you may not recognize that you need it, like you just said, until it's too late. And then it's never really too late. You can always get in there and make those changes, especially once you notice that the people aren't adopting it as quickly as they should. But having that element already implemented at the beginning gives you that forethought. That I think that's really important for a company moving forward, especially. And then, like you said, the way we do it here, we're looking to make happy clients. Yeah,
I mean, that's the idea. We're only successful if they're successful. I would say like the other thing Greencastle can offer is like, maybe you have an ERP implementation. You're like, I don't know if I need change management, right? Well, give us a call, right? We'll jump in, do a quick assessment for you. Maybe you need us, right?
Right.
And hey, we're there for you. And if not, like, no worries, good luck for the future. And if you ever need us anytime, we're here,
Yeah.
I could just add on to that. As a product manager, I know a lot of things, but not very, the depth of my knowledge isn't great. I can put a schedule together. I can order the milestones. I can make sure everybody's staying on track. I can let you know when you're off track. But when it comes to change management, I know we've got 4 stages. I know people might not accept it. But anything beyond that, I would need to reach out for some assistance. And that's where Greencastle comes in. You don't just get the project manager. I've got resources here that I can rely on. Hey, I'm not quite sure about this change management. This is what we're thinking of doing. And then somebody here is going to say, that sounds like a good start, but here's what I would add to make it a little more refined, a little more specific, and you get more out of it. So
I love that.
Yeah.
One of our previous episodes, one of them called it the green machine. You don't just get one of us, you get the entire company.
Exactly.
Everyone here, as an individual, as a team, work with each other. That I think is also another thing that makes us pretty unique, is that when you're looking for help, there's plenty of people here that are like, oh yeah, let me check that out, let me help you out, let me figure out this. Boom, we're all here to help the client in that same fashion.
Yeah, one team, one fight mentality, right? That's how the military does it.
Absolutely. This is great. I'm going to extend the time a little bit. I want to ask you guys some this or that's. You down for that?
Sure. Let's go for it.
Let's check this out. Okay, for cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Both dog people?
Yep,
What's up with cats?
Yeah, just not my thing. I don't know. Do you have cats?
I have 2 dogs, and the dogs will follow me around. The dogs will sit when I tell them to sit.
Isn't that beautiful?
They'll go out and they'll catch that ball and they'll bring it back, and they'll sit patiently, and they'll little tails will wag and they'll be very excited to see me. Cats have claws and they dig into my legs and it hurts. And, I never know if they're going to be there or not. So dogs.
Yeah. I'm with the dog thing too. I will say, like, no matter what, right? Like when I come home, like she is just juiced up, right? Like
spinning in circles.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Like you're the greatest human in the whole world. Like I love you so much, right? It'd be nice if my wife could do that sometimes. But
just running circles.
Yeah, just running circles. Just like one time, you want to be like, oh my God, I'm so excited you're home. This is the best day ever. Where cats are just like, oh. Hey.
Yeah, hey.
And it just
how
like
you
walks
doing?
away.
Yeah.
Hey, my bowl's empty. You need to fill that.
Yeah, those are your shoes? Gross.
Yeah. Coffee or tea?
I'm a coffee guy.
Coffee.
Yeah. Turned out I just like tea. I enjoy tea. I do like coffee. One of our vendors that's going to be at VetFest this year, Cleona Coffee, has some of the best coffee, veteran owned and operated.
Nice.
Yeah. So at VetFest, you guys see them, especially if you're into coffee, definitely good. The acidity, he like brews out all.
Oh, so he does the cold brew thing. So I was just going to say that. I don't drink hot coffee anymore. I'm only cold brew.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it takes the acidity out of it.
Yes.
This like way healthier for you. I think it tastes better, to be honest, too. Like much nicer on like the stomach and stuff like that. So I'm all about it.
Yeah. That's such a plus for me. Yeah. Let's say summer or winter?
Winter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're a winter guy.
Hardcore disagree with that one. I am all about the summer. I'm a beach guy. I want to be in the sunshine, out by a body of water.
Yeah. What is it about winter? You're the first one that said winter.
I prefer hoodies and pullovers.
Okay.
All right.
You run hot?
Guy.
I'm very warm right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It is hot in here. Yeah.
I'll go back. I'll cool down. I like to step outside and get sunshine.
Yeah.
For at least 5 minutes to start my day. And if it's a really hot morning, I know it's just going to be a rough day.
Yeah.
But when I step outside, I sweat. It just puffs out and it just starts dripping and running. And I prefer winter. Although winter cold, the colder you are, it hurts. It really hurts.
Yeah.
Sweating is uncomfortable. What I found being in the Army, cold hurts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was one time when I was in Texas, in my duty station down there. And, Texas, when you think of Texas, it's just hot. You think of heat, right? So, but in the wintertime, and when you're out on a mission, doing training, in the wintertime, it's cold as hell. It's like 30 degrees out there. I was like, how does it get this cold out there? And really chilly. I mean, like out in the desert, it's just like cold. So that was always interesting. But as soon as my ears or my toes are done, I'm out. I can't.
Yeah. Like even in the military, I consider myself a warm weather warfighter. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not doing the cold training. It was like, do you want to go to Africa or Norway? I'm like, Africa. Yep. For sure. 100%. Yeah. No, thank you to winter training.
Right. Last one. And this is a trigger warning to everyone out there, because this is a very polarizing question. All right.
Okay.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone, yeah.
iPhones.
Yeah.
So iPhone, recently now they're just starting to put GPT into implementation onto the iPhones, which is kind of scary because like GPT doesn't even know what GPT is yet. So we're putting it on our phones.
Yeah, for sure. So we're actually, and a lot of the utility companies are like this. You're not allowed to have AI on your phone, right? Because the minute you use the AI and you put the data out there, like the AI has it, right? It has access to it, and it'll leverage it for other people when they ask questions, right? I think it's, it's not malicious in nature, but naturally it could be used for malicious intent, right? So, but for the security concerns working in various, industries like the utility industry, when we're talking about, power grids, clean water, things like that, it's like very, very secure that way. So,
wow.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that. I got my phone disabled for a day.
Oh, wow.
Fun-filled story. Yeah, I didn't know that I couldn't do that. So that's how I know you can't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
No, I started using AI when I started working here. And funny story, you can edit this out if you need to, but when I first started working here and I thought Greencastle, I saw you had sent something across the Greencastle chat lines, and I just saw Al Green, but when I saw it, it looked like AI Green. And I thought, am I in over my head? Are these guys developing their own AI software platform that I don't know about, and I don't know how to do any of that? And it took me a minute till it took me a couple of days actually. I think I saw you walking around and I thought, wait a second. That's not AI Green, that's Al Green, and he's right there.
Brian and Eric, thank you guys so much for being on the show. And make sure you guys like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the conversation, and if you have any questions. If you guys are on like YouTube or any place like that, they can drop a comment, let you guys know what's up if you have any other questions and stuff like that. So on behalf of Greencastle, your nation's premier strategy execution firm, I'm your host, Al Green, Eric, and Ryan, and we'll see you in the next episode.